My dear brothers and sisters, I want you to stop what you're doing right now and hear this truth echoing through the ages. Your suffering is not the end of your story. Your hardship is not your final chapter. God has not forgotten you. He has not turned his back on you. He has not closed the door of mercy on your life. The chapter of hardship you're walking through right now is temporary, and I declare with fire in my bones, God is about to close it. You may be weeping in the midnight hour. You may be crawling through days that feel longer than years. Your heart may be crushed under the weight of burdens you cannot speak aloud. But this is not where your journey ends. God, in his perfect knowledge, has already set the time, the hour, and the very moment when this storm will break and light will shine upon your path. He is the author of your life, and he does not end his story with pain. He ends it with purpose. Let the winds howl, let the thunder roll, let the night seem endless. But you stand firm because God is still writing. He sees the pain you've hidden behind your smile. He sees the strength you use just to get through each day. He sees how you continue to be kind while you're breaking inside. And God says, I have seen your tears. I have heard your prayers. I am coming to close this chapter of hardship. You were not created to live in despair. You were not formed from the dust to spend your days under the weight of suffering. God allowed the trial, yes. He permitted the fire, yes. But he did not bring you this far to leave you in the ashes. He is the one who lifts people out of the pit and sets them on solid ground. And if you are in the pit right now, then get ready. God is preparing your ride. In your life, there's some chapters in life that God allows so you can become what you were meant to be. You may not understand the pressure, but it is producing perseverance. You may not understand the rejection, but it is building resilience. You may not understand the silence, but it is strengthening your faith. God is not ignoring you. He is developing you. And when he's done, the page will turn. The dust will settle, and what seemed like suffering will be revealed as shaping. You didn't choose this chapter of hardship, but God allowed it for a reason greater than you can see. The pain wasn't sent to destroy you. It was sent to reveal something within you, something that could not be discovered in comfort. Some of the greatest awakenings happen in the wilderness. Some of the deepest faith is born in silence. Some of the strongest people are shaped in storms. You are not being punished, you are being prepared. When God decides to close a chapter, no devil can keep it open. No enemy can reverse his will. When God declares it is finished, then every weapon that was formed against you loses its power. Every chain that tried to hold you breaks. Every voice that tried to silence you is silenced by his hand. He does not need permission. He does not need explanation. When he says the trial is over, it ends. Hold on to that. Hold on with everything you have. If all you can do is whisper in your heart, God, I trust you, then that is enough. Even now, he is moving behind the scenes. Even now, he is arranging divine appointments, opening doors you don't yet see, aligning the right people, and removing obstacles you didn't even know were there. You may not see it with your eyes, but you must believe it with your spirit. God is working. You may feel like everything is falling apart, but what if everything is actually falling into place? What if this hardship was the very thing God used to guide you, to humble you, to protect you from something you didn't even know was coming? Sometimes the greatest blessings are disguised as burdens. And when the curtain is pulled back, you will see that the hand of God was always on your life. The tears you cried in private will be answered in public. The valley you walk through will be the same valley God uses to elevate you. He never wastes pain. He never abandons the faithful. And if you've been holding on, if you've been faithful through the flood, then get ready, because your reward is near. God will not allow your suffering to be permanent. He is too kind. He is too faithful. He is too powerful to let hardship write your whole story. The chapter is closing. The fire is fading. The storm is passing. Do not confuse the silence of God for absence. Do not mistake His patience for neglect. He is waiting for the perfect moment, the divine time, and when He moves, everything will change in an instant. You may feel like you're at the end, but God sees it as the turning point. You may be crying, God, I can't take it anymore. And He's whispering, you're almost there. Do you know why it feels heavier right now? Because you're closer than ever before. The enemy knows his time is short. He's throwing everything he can at you because he sees what God is about to release into your life. So stand. Even if your knees are shaking, stand. Even if your heart is tired, stand. Even if your faith feels small, stand. Because when God closes the chapter of hardship, He opens a chapter of restoration. He repays what was lost. He restores what was broken. He renews what was dying. He brings life to barren places. He heals what no human could ever heal. The very thing that tried to break you will be the proof that God rebuilt you. The very hardship that tried to destroy you will become the testimony that inspires others. God is not just closing this chapter to give you peace. He's closing it so that you can be a witness to others walking through the same fire. Your survival has purpose. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. There is a difference between being buried and being planted, and right now some of you feel buried. But God says, no, my child, I have planted you. You are not dying. You are about to rise. You are about to grow. You are about to see the light again. Do not underestimate what God can do in a moment. Years of struggle can be overturned in a single act of His will. What you thought was lost forever can be returned, restored, and multiplied. That is the power of God. That is His way. He waits until everyone says it's impossible. Lift your head, breathe again, speak life over yourself. Remind your soul that God is still in control. The chapter is almost over. This pain is not forever. You will not weep always. You will not struggle forever. The night will break and morning will come. Every delay has a divine purpose. Every no from heaven was protection. Every closed door was a redirection. You thought you were being held back, but you were being held together. You thought the silence meant abandonment, but it was preparation. God has not changed His mind about your future. What He has promised you is still on the way. And no hardship can cancel what God has spoken over your life. He is the God who opens rivers in the desert. He is the God who brings water from the rock. He is the God who provides bread from the sky. And He is the same God who is with you now. If He did it before, He will do it again. If He made a way then, He will make a way now. The suffering you've endured has not gone unnoticed. Every moment you chose to trust instead of doubt, every time you praised when it hurt, every time you forgave when it felt unfair, God saw it all. And He will reward it. He will honor it. He will bless you in ways that eyes have not seen and ears have not heard. He is not just closing the chapter of hardship, he is writing a new one of hope, joy, peace, and provision. But do not rush the process, do not run ahead of him, trust his timing. The same God who allowed the pain will decide when it ends. And when it ends, no one will be able to deny that it was God who did it. Let your faith rise, let your spirit lift, let your heart hope again. This is not how your story ends. This is just a chapter. And God has already prepared the next one. You may feel like your strength is gone, but God's strength is limitless. You may feel like your light is flickering, but he never runs out of power. Rest in him, lean on him. Let go of fear and hold on to the truth that God is faithful. You are still here, you are still breathing. That means he is not done. That means purpose still lives in your bones. That means the best is not behind you. It is ahead of you. The enemy would not be attacking you so hard if there weren't something powerful on the horizon. You're not under attack because you're weak. You're under attack because you're chosen. When God decides to close this chapter, it will be sudden. It will be undeniable. You'll go to sleep burdened and wake up with peace. You'll look back and say, that was the day everything changed. He's not asking you to figure it all out. He's asking you to trust him while he works it out. And he will, oh, he will, not on your timeline, not when you think it should happen, but in his perfect timing. And when that time comes, your weeping will turn into laughter. Your mourning will turn into dancing. Your worry will turn into worship. My beloved, listen closely. For I am not just speaking to your ears, I am speaking to your soul. You have walked through a season of darkness. You have endured hardship that words cannot fully express. You have been tested in the fire, and though others cannot see your scars, God has counted every silent cry, every sleepless night, every ache in your heart. He knows, and not only does he know, he is acting. Even now, he is turning the pages of your life, bringing this chapter of sorrow to its end. God is not distant, he is not idle, he is not unmoved by your suffering. While you have been struggling to understand, he has been preparing the shift. While you were wondering why the door wouldn't open, he was building a door that no man could shut. While you were asking how much longer you could survive, he was preparing a breakthrough that would silence every doubt. This is not the end. This is the breaking point of what you've known and the birthing place of what God is about to reveal. Some of you have been walking through affliction, not because you are forgotten, but because you are chosen. There are battles assigned only to those whom God has equipped for deeper purposes. You have not been in this fire because of weakness. You have been in it because God trusted you with the heat. You have not been enduring because you are ordinary. You've been enduring because you were called to carry something extraordinary. God does not put heavy oil on fragile vessels. You are being refined for greatness, not punished by misfortune. Let this sink into your spirit. God never wastes pain. What broke you today will build someone else tomorrow. What crushed you in this season will crown you in the next. You are not going to walk away from this empty-handed. The tears you've sown in faith will return in a harvest of strength, of wisdom, of divine elevation. The very thing the enemy meant to use to break you, God will turn into the weapon of your rising. Now, I must tell you something that may shake you. Not every hardship is from the enemy. Some battles are authored by God, not to destroy you, but to develop you. He allows some storms not to drown you, but to teach you how to walk on troubled waters. He allows some deserts not to starve you, but to teach you that His provision is not limited by your environment. And when that lesson is complete, when the shaping has done its work, He steps in, not a moment too soon, and not a second too late, and He closes that chapter. Do not mistake divine delay for denial. What looks like silence is God working behind the veil. There are things in motion you cannot see, doors being opened in rooms you haven't walked into yet, hearts being stirred on your behalf, resources being aligned. The moment God says now, your season of struggle will collapse under the weight of His favor. It will not be gradual, it will be swift. The same way night gives way to day without resistance, hardship will give way to divine peace. If you've been walking through rejection, understand this: rejection is often redirection. Not everything that is taken from you is a loss. Some things must fall away so that the hand of God can be clearly seen. Some relationships must end. Some opportunities must pass you by. Why? Because God is not interested in your comfort, He is interested in your calling. And when the season shifts, you will understand why He said no to things you thought were essential. You are not being reduced, you are being refined. The shaking you've experienced has not come to destroy your foundation, but to expose anything not built on God's strength. He is anchoring you. He is stripping away the distractions. He is preparing you for something far greater than you imagined. But understand this: before God promotes, He prepares. And sometimes preparation feels like punishment. But when God finishes His work, when the final stroke of His hand completes this chapter, you will not recognize yourself. You will rise from the ashes, not bitter, but blessed. Not broken, but built. Not lost, but led. And the very people who questioned your faith, who watched you struggle, who mocked your hope, they will have no choice but to acknowledge that God was with you all along. Now let me speak to the tired one, the one who's barely holding on, the one who's wondering if it's even worth continuing. You have come too far to give up now. Do not let this valley convince you that there is no mountain ahead. God has not brought you this far to leave you in the wilderness. Keep walking. Every step you take in faith is shaking the gates of your next season. And to the one who's angry at God, who feels betrayed by the pain, you're not disqualified. Even in your frustration, He understands. God is not afraid of your emotion. He sees beyond your feelings into your destiny. He knows that what looks like anger is often just confusion. What sounds like doubt is often the cry of a weary heart. He is not offended. He is patient, and He is still moving on your behalf. What you see as delay, God sees as protection. What you thought was rejection, God calls redirection. He has been guarding you from stepping into things that would have drained your spirit. He has been holding you back, not because He's against you, but because He's saving you for something greater. The enemy wanted to break you in this chapter, but God has preserved you. He has hidden you in the shadow of His might, and when the time comes, He will reveal the glory He has been forming in secret. You must understand, God's deliverance is not always loud. Sometimes it is quiet. Sometimes it comes through endurance. Sometimes it looks like nothing has changed, but something inside you has shifted, and that inner shift is the proof that the outer breakthrough is coming. You are not the same person who entered this storm. You are stronger, you are wiser, you are more grounded in the truth. You have been transformed. This is why your hardship is ending, not because God wants to relieve you, but because His purpose in it is fulfilled. The pressure has produced perseverance. The trial has sharpened your faith. The crushing has released the oil. And now, as surely as the sun rises after the longest night, God will bring closure to what has tormented you, not in the way the world gives peace, but with a peace that comes only when the hand of God moves in power. So brace yourself. The shift is near. Your prayers have not been ignored. They have been stored in the hands of the one who answers in perfect timing. Your cries have not been lost. They have been recorded in the throne room of the Almighty. And the season is coming when every why will be answered with a now. Every wound will be healed. Every drought will be followed by a flood of favor. Let your spirit rejoice, not because of what you see, but because of what God has declared. Let your heart sing, not because your pain is gone, but because you trust the one who holds your next chapter. This is not the time to give in to despair. This is the time to anchor your soul in the promise that God does not lie. If He said the hardship would end, then it must. If He said the night will pass, then it shall. If He said He will restore, then get ready. Restoration is coming. You don't need all the answers. You don't need the full picture. All you need is this truth burned into your heart. God is faithful. He has never failed. He cannot fail, and He will not fail you. The chapter of hardship is not eternal. It has an expiration date, set by the very hand that formed the heavens and the earth. And now let this truth resound in the deepest corners of your soul. When God chooses to shift the atmosphere around your life, no force in existence can resist His will. The weight you've been carrying is not eternal. The shadow that has loomed over your life is not permanent, because when God says enough, the winds will obey, the burden will lift, and the chains will fall. God is not watching you suffer from a distance. He is standing at the threshold of your breakthrough, ready to step in and declare the end of your affliction. Do not be deceived by the current appearance of your life. God does not define you by what you're going through. He defines you by what He has already declared over you. And what He declares, no hardship can cancel. God is not bound by time, by human reasoning, or by the limits of circumstance. When He speaks, creation obeys. When He acts, no one can undo it. Your hardship has lingered not because God is weak, but because He is wise. He has let it serve a purpose, but that purpose is not forever. You may be standing in a place where doors seem locked and nothing seems to move, but let me tell you, God does not need an open door. He is the one who creates doors. He does not wait for permission to move. He is not consulting your enemies before blessing you. He is not asking your pain if it's finished tormenting you. No, when the time is right, He will speak, and hardship will flee like a shadow before the morning sun. What you thought would be your ending will be the platform for a new beginning written by the hand of God. Some of you have been walking through a hidden suffering, an internal storm that no one around you understands. You have smiled in public but wrestled with fear in private. You've carried the weight of uncertainty and pain without anyone to lean on. But here's what you must understand. You are never alone. God has been there through every silent battle, through every tear you couldn't explain, and He is not just observing, He is gathering every moment of your endurance like treasures in a storehouse. For every quiet act of faith, for every unseen sacrifice, For every night you chose to believe when you had no evidence, there is a divine response coming. There are moments in life when the soul is pressed so deeply you can no longer rely on your strength, and in those moments, when you feel you are at your breaking point, God shows you that He is the one holding you up. Not your job, not your reputation, not your relationships, not your plans. God alone. And it is in those moments that faith is born, not just belief, but a deep, unshakable trust that even in the dark, even in the silence, God is still in control. Sometimes hardship is God's classroom. It is where He teaches us to listen. It is where He removes the clutter of the world, the distractions of noise, the dependence on people, and teaches us to walk by His voice alone. It is in the furnace that faith becomes fire. And though the fire is hot, though the flames are fierce, it does not consume the one who walks with the covering of God. Instead, it burns away what is unnecessary, and what remains is pure, tested, indestructible. You may not understand why things happened the way they did. You may not understand why you lost what you did, or why certain people walked away, or why your path has been so long and painful. But hear me clearly. God does not waste anything. The betrayal was not pointless. The delay was not empty. The pain was not in vain. He is weaving something out of it all that will one day cause your heart to say, "Now I understand. Now I see what I could not see before." And until that day comes, hold on to the truth that God is not punishing you. He is preserving you, preserving your mind, preserving your peace, preserving your purpose. Some chapters are filled with hardship because God is protecting you from stepping into something too soon. Timing matters, and God's timing is always perfect. When He closes the chapter, it will not just be an escape from pain, it will be an entrance into destiny. God doesn't deliver halfway. He doesn't heal partially. He doesn't restore with limitations. When He moves completely. He shuts doors no man can open, and opens doors no man can shut. He will not leave you in the middle of a storm without an ark. He will not leave you in the heat of battle without armor. He will not leave you in the waiting room forever. A time is coming when the very place that has caused you the most pain will become the ground where God displays His glory through your life. So strengthen your heart, wipe your tears, lift your eyes not to the mountain but to the one who created the mountain. He is your provider, your protector, your sustainer. He is not just the God who starts things, He is the God who finishes them. The hardship is coming to an end not because it ran out of power, but because God has declared that it has served its purpose. And when He closes a chapter, it is never a whisper. It is a declaration. It is a shift. It is a divine verdict that says, "No more." Your chapter of hardship is about to be followed by a chapter of peace. Not the peace the world gives. Not peace that depends on circumstances, but peace that is rooted in the knowledge that God reigns. Peace that cannot be taken by bad news, by betrayal, by economic shifts, or by fear. That peace is coming. That rest is coming. That new chapter is not a fantasy, it is a promise. And God's promises are not like man's words. They are not empty. They are alive. They carry the weight of divine authority, and when they are spoken, nothing in this world can stop them from being fulfilled. Let this be a wake-up call to your spirit. You are stepping out of the wilderness. You are coming out of the cave of despair. You are being lifted from the shadows into the light of divine favor. And when that light shines, you will not be the same. You will not walk the same. You will not speak the same. Because hardship has refined you, God has already written the next sentence of your life, and it begins with redemption. It begins with recovery. It begins with joy that no sorrow can erase. And you will look back on this season, not with bitterness, but with reverence. You will say, even then, God was with me. Even then, He was faithful. So let your faith rise. Let your trust deepen. Let your soul lean into the voice of the one who has carried you this far. And now let this truth strike the deepest chords of your heart. Every hardship has an appointed end in the eyes of God. It may feel like the pain has become permanent, like the storm is your new identity, like sorrow has become your companion, but that is a lie. It is a lie whispered by fear, sustained by doubt, and fueled by delay. But the truth is this: God has already written the conclusion of your affliction. And it ends with deliverance, not defeat. It ends with restoration, not ruin. God is not pacing the heavens wondering how to help you. He is not searching for a solution. He is the solution. He is the master planner, the knower of all things, the one who makes a way where there is no way. And when He chooses to act, time itself must obey. When He sends His command, no barrier can remain standing. No condition can resist His decree. That's the kind of power guiding your life. That's the force standing behind your next breakthrough. Some of you have become too familiar with struggle. You've worn your suffering like a second skin. You've been in the fire so long that you've forgotten the feel of peace. But let me remind you today, you were not created to live in bondage. You were not meant to wake up every day expecting pain. You were not meant to live with clenched fists bracing for another blow from life. No, God did not design you for defeat. He designed you for victory. He did not form you to remain stuck in trials. He formed you to walk through them. And on the other side of that storm, there is a promise waiting that hardship cannot steal. Do you not see it? The very trial that tried to define you is the same trial God is using to elevate you. The very darkness that tried to swallow you is the same darkness God will use to reveal the light within you. The chapter of hardship is not your identity, it is a process. And when the process ends, the promise begins. That's why the enemy has been trying so hard to discourage you. He knows what you're about to walk into. He knows that when God closes this chapter, you will emerge with more wisdom, more clarity, more strength, and more favor than ever before. Let your heart wake up to this reality. God is never late. You may feel forgotten, but heaven has not gone silent. You may not hear answers, but that doesn't mean God is absent. Silence is not a sign of inactivity. It is often the sign of divine preparation. When the seed is planted in the soil, it is unseen. But just because you can't see growth doesn't mean growth isn't happening. God has been cultivating something in the dark, something powerful, something sacred. And when it finally breaks the surface, the world will see what He has been doing in secret. There are blessings that only come after struggle. There is understanding that only comes after wrestling. There is peace that only feels like peace after chaos has tried to consume you. This is why God doesn't always remove you from the fire. Sometimes He lets you walk through it so you can come out with a fire of your own, not a fire that destroys, but a fire that burns away fear, a fire that refines your character, a fire that fuels your purpose. So do not curse the chapter, do not despise the season. It is coming to a close, but before it ends, make sure you receive what God wanted to plant in you through it. Let the pain deepen your patience. Let the silence sharpen your discernment. Let the delay increase your dependency on the one who controls time itself. Because when this chapter ends, and it will end, you will need everything it taught you. And then comes the shift. The shift so divine that no one will be able to take credit for it but God. A shift so powerful that even your enemies will be forced to acknowledge that something beyond human strength carried you out of that pit. A shift that will remind you that your prayers were never in vain. Your tears were never wasted. Your waiting was never ignored. The one who heard you in the night will answer you in the daylight, and all will know this was the hand of God. You will not have to fight for recognition. You will not have to chase validation. When God closes a chapter, He doesn't just end the struggle. He honors the survivor. And He will cause those who once overlooked you to see you through new eyes. Not because you demanded attention, but because God Himself elevated you. And when God elevates, no man can demote. So what should you do now while you wait for this chapter to close? Stand firm. Do not compromise your character just to escape the discomfort. Do not lower your standards to seek temporary relief. Stay grounded, stay faithful, keep walking in the truth, keep trusting the process, because the time of testing is also the time of proving. And when it is over, when the trial has run its course, you will emerge with a testimony that no storm can erase. God has already seen your future. He knows what's coming. He knows how it ends, and He's not worried. That's why you don't need to be either. You don't need all the details. You just need the faith to believe that the same hand that allowed this chapter is the hand that will end it. Not because of your strength, but because of His mercy. Not because you earned it, but because He is full of wisdom and compassion. And listen closely. When this chapter closes, you will realize that God not only preserved your life, but He protected your purpose. There are doors you wanted to walk through that God kept shut. There are people you wanted to keep in your life that God removed. There are opportunities you begged for that never came. And one day you will look back and say, "Thank you, God, for not giving me what I wanted, but giving me what I needed." Because what you needed was not always comfort, it was preparation for the call that's coming next. There is glory on the other side of this grief. There is reward on the other side of this wrestling. There is peace on the other side of this pressure. You are not walking through this fire to be consumed by it. You are walking through it so that when others see you on the other side, they will know you have been touched, not by fortune, not by luck, but by the living power of God. He is the one who sustains. He is the one who sees the end from the beginning. He is the one who does not need the approval of man to move on your behalf. And when He moves, the mountains tremble. When He speaks, creation bows. When He decides the struggle is over, it is over. Do not measure the power of God by the pressure of your pain. Do not weigh the promise by the heaviness of the trial. You see only what's in front of you, but God sees the full picture. Every chapter, every turn, every silent cry you whispered into the darkness. You've been waiting and wondering, when will this end? But God has not been still. He has been moving the unseen, shifting the invisible, preparing your path while you were still in the middle of the storm. The silence you mistook for absence was actually the stillness before the miracle. Every hardship you've endured has been under God's watchful eye. Nothing slipped past His wisdom. Not one moment of suffering escaped His attention. And when He allows something to come into your life, it's because He already has the power to use it for your good. You are not defined by the attack, you are defined by the outcome God has already declared. He's not writing your story as it happens. He has already written it, and victory's not at the end of the story. It's woven through every page by His hand. Some of you have felt buried. Like life has pushed you so deep into the ground that you can barely breathe. But hear this, you are not buried, you are planted. And when a seed is planted, it goes through pressure, darkness, silence, and isolation. But deep in the soil, where no one sees, transformation begins, roots grow, strength forms. And when the time is right, that seed doesn't just rise, it breaks through the ground with power. That is what God is doing in you. He is not breaking you, He is building you. And when your time comes, nothing will be able to hold you down. You may be surrounded by chaos. You may be standing in the ruins of what once was. But let me tell you, God brings beauty from ashes. He does not leave His people in ruin. He does not abandon what He started. And if everything around you has crumbled, then that only means He's about to build something new, something stronger, something no storm can ever destroy again. God does not restore you to what you were. He elevates you beyond what you imagined. You may have walked through loss, but what is coming will be greater than what was taken. Stop looking at your life through the lens of defeat. Start seeing yourself through the eyes of the one who made you. God doesn't see brokenness, He sees potential. He doesn't see what you lost, He sees what He's about to give. He doesn't see a failure, He sees a vessel ready for His power. And when you finally understand that your hardship was not a punishment but a platform, your spirit will begin to praise Him even before the breakthrough arrives. He begin to thank Him even before the breakthrough arrives. There is no power greater than the will of God. No timing more accurate than His divine plan. When God says your season of hardship is over, nothing can stop what comes next. But before He releases the blessing, He builds the foundation. That's why He allowed you to be tested, not to harm you, but to strengthen your roots. So when the winds come again, and they will, you will not be moved, you will stand firm. Because what God builds, He builds to last. Let your soul rise in faith today. Refuse to settle into sorrow. Refuse to identify with struggle. You are not weak. You are not forgotten. You are not cast aside. You are the evidence that God still moves in the earth. You are the testimony that survival is not only possible, it is powerful. You have been through what should have crushed you, and yet here you are, breathing, hoping, believing. That is not by accident. That is the mark of God's mercy on your life. There will come a time, sooner than you think, when you will look back and barely recognize the person who endured so much. You will look back not with regret, but with reverence, not with shame, but with strength. You'll say, I didn't know it then, but God was with me every step. He covered me when I couldn't cover myself. He guided me when I was walking blind. He held me when I had no one else. And that will become the core of your gratitude. And listen carefully now. God is not asking you to be perfect in this chapter. He is asking you to be faithful. Stay anchored, stay open, stay committed to doing what is right, even when it's hard. Because it's your faithfulness in the fire that activates the next season. Anyone can praise when the sun is shining, but those who lift their hands in the rain, those are the ones God lifts higher when the storm clears. You don't need to prove your strength. Just keep proving your trust. The deliverance that's coming is not random, it's strategic, it's purposeful. God doesn't just close chapters to end suffering, He closes them to release destiny. The pain pushed you, the hardship humbled you, but now comes the reward. Now comes the reward that only God can give, not man-made, not momentary, but lasting and full of peace. And it won't just affect you, it will overflow. Your healing will heal others. Your rising will inspire others. Your testimony will spark the faith in someone else who's still in the fire. You see, when God closes a chapter, He doesn't leave you standing in the ashes. He lifts you. And He doesn't lift you quietly. He lifts you so those around you will know it was not your own doing. It was His mercy, His power, His hand. And they will ask, how did you come through all that? And you will say, because God carried me. So now, my dear listener, stand still and know that God is not finished with you. The weight you've been carrying, the storms you've survived, the tears you've cried in silence, all of it has been seen. All of it has been recorded by the hand of the one who neither slumbers nor sleeps. And now by His command, the chapter is turning, not by chance, not by the will of man, but by the decree of God Almighty. The sorrow that followed you is about to be overtaken by peace. The fear that gripped your heart is about to be crushed by divine assurance. The closed doors, the broken roads, the unanswered prayers, they are being rewritten by the pen of purpose, and what comes next will be proof that the struggle was not your sentence, it was your setup. It was the divine preparation for a destiny far greater than you imagined. So walk forward, not in fear, but in faith. Not looking back in regret, but looking ahead with expectation. The chapter of hardship is closing, not because you found a way out, but because God made a way through. The sun is rising on your story, and the same God who brought you through the fire will lead you into the fullness of what He has prepared for you. Let this be your declaration. God is faithful. God is sovereign. God is turning my pain into purpose, my trials into triumph, and my hardship into a testimony. The next chapter begins now, written by the hand of God, filled with peace, victory, and the undeniable evidence that He was with you all along.